My name is Annemie Ress and I'm the founder of PurpleBeach. I think the biggest challenges that businesses face with innovation today or complexity is that more often than not they're not innovative in how they deal with people being customers, consumers, employees, future employees. And for me the question always is, how can you expect innovation to happen if you're not innovative with those stakeholder groups? PurpleBeach is all about exposing people to each other who never normally wouldn't be exposed. It's about using both your creative right brain and your analytical left brain to approach things like innovation, complexity from very, very different perspectives, and fundamentally to generate some insights that I think you can't generate by only playing in the left brain space or the right brain space when you approach either innovation or complexity.
Our most valuable asset in this dynamic, turbulent environment is human beings, because we've evolved to deal with uncertainty. We've evolved the capacity to be social, to collaborate, to cooperate, to conflict as well, but to use that in a constructive way. Most of the success in the 20th century was achieved by human beings becoming more like machines, or at least functioning like machines. I think what's happened now is the environment has changed so that we need to return to being more like human without having lost the lessons of the 20th century.
I'm here to speak about neuroscience and the brain, and how our brains will actually determine our experience at PurpleBeach. So people might like it or not like it. I'm there to help them understand what is actually going on in their brains. What neuroscience can contribute to insights and creativity has been focused on a lot by neuroscientists over the past 10 years, but probably very strongly for the past 2 or 3 years. This sort of, what are the conditions for having insights and how does that relate to innovation? There's just a huge amount of research now that talks about things like needing quiet, positive environment and not too much distraction. This whole thing about having a very small processor at the front of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, it overloads very quickly. You get stressed very quickly, and if you don't give your brain time to calm down, it can't have insights. Without insights, you don't create new habits and neural pathways, and without that, you can't have innovation and creativity. So it starts with the individual, and then it becomes organizational.
So one great breakthrough that's available in innovation is that it's one of the few places where an executive in a company says, yes, I'm willing to change things in a really big way. It's almost carte blanche to bring up things that you would never otherwise bring up. So if you can harness the business need for innovation and turn it into innovation in culture, you have a great breakthrough. Companies can tap into the power of their people to drive innovation by doing a better job of listening, inside and outside. So you can develop your ecosystems by better listening to the people you're trying to serve through ethnography and storytelling, and you can do the same work internally by doing a better job of building feedback loops from your front-level staff, your frontline staff, to your executives and management.
A couple of things actually stop leaders and businesses from being innovative, and I think unless leaders can develop a people innovation mindset, and I'll talk a little bit about how you can develop that mindset, I think more often than not there'll be a huge struggle with embedding sustainable innovation and change in businesses. More often than not, when approaching innovation, leaders and businesses only approach it from an analytical perspective, or think that they need to find the right approach or solution to innovation, and then innovation will happen. And it's in diversity, it's in using both your left and right brain that you do unlock sustainable innovation. We're all so busy, we don't have the time, we don't make the space, the mind space to focus on innovation. I think it's, unless you frankly make the time, create a space where you won't be distracted. And that doesn't mean you have to literally go to the beach, it just means create a space, whether in your agenda, calendar, your normal activities, to focus and think. innovation challenges can relate to the big things, but it can also relate to things like improving execution in a business, unlocking capacity in a business. It needs brave leaders to be able to say, as they think and experience the innovation journey, frankly, they might need to change. They might need to be open, well, they have to be open to doing things differently, both personally in how they lead, but also in how they create the vision for innovation within their businesses.
I love this thing about Purple Beach in that there's this element of play and serendipity that's happening with all these different people from so many different contexts and geographies coming together to speak. And I think that what's really amazing about it is that by taking the pressure off and not having it be about finding the definitive answers of people innovation, but instead framing the question of what is people innovation, it gives a lot of people autonomy and agency to share things that they might not otherwise have shared.
This is actually sort of organic and lots of people talking at once and flexing the agenda, responding to the audience in a real way, collecting their sort of their insights and their quality thinking rather than it being the same old regurgitated in a different way. So I love the fact that it's different.
I've looked at everything about it. I've never been to any place like this. I've been to places where people are talking about interesting things, but not so many events going on simultaneously. And I've loved the poetry most of all. It's been moving, it's been wonderfully performed. So the whole experience has been both intellectual and artistic.
So I think the one thing I'd like folks to take away from the Purple Beach experience is, yes, I want them to have either a personal or a business aha insight, but actually, if everyone can have one conversation, listen to one activity, take part in a mindfulness exercise and go, wow, I never thought I would learn something or gain an insight that's relevant to my business or me personally from a poet, from a mindfulness expert, or from someone who's had an astronaut for that matter. So I think it's that. It's those moments of surprise or the conversations that happen, and I hope the dialogue will continue after.